doing?
Good, how
Okay.
you doing?
You're
Okay.
doing.
Let's just go ahead and talk because I want Shirley and Kayla with us whenever, and they'll be in, and they'll log on in just a minute. But let's just go ahead and talk about kind of where you are with, just updating where you are with what you're doing right now. You want to, Zaquan, you want to start? We always end with you, so we'll start with you this time.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Right now I'm just focusing on. I exit some of my students out for as the transfers, and also I had already put in the quarter 3s and 4s. So as of now, I'm just waiting on what Akilah has for us. I had checked my TQS data, and I have to make some changes to that. But I'm just waiting on Akilah. Is she gonna tell us like what we missing, or?
Yeah, she's going to be on. She's coming online at 10:30 today, so we can ask her all kind of questions today.
Okay.
That's why I wanted while it was fresh on the minds of people that were with us on Monday, and you were there. I saw you
Yes.
on the session. I wanted to go ahead and and to get her back. So that's
Okay.
it. Jermaine. Jermaine, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me where you are with
Yes,
things.
sir. I'm just waiting for it to go to start closing everything out.
Okay, well you're gonna get to go today. So Akilah presented a lot of good things on Monday. And did you get the information that I sent you? I sent you an
Yeah,
email
like with
on Monday.
everything, the instructions, the
Yeah,
instructions on how
yeah,
everything. Yeah, I
yeah.
got it.
In phase 1, she's going to talk about that today. So that's what we're going to wait on. Maisie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you want to talk about where you are with things?
At the present time, I'm up to my 4th quarter, working on that, closing that out. I've completed my profile and made sure and double check that. And
Okay. And
at
that
the
meeting
point
was a
of
good meeting on Monday, wasn't it? She gave some good information.
Yes.
Okay, Judy?
I'm finishing up my 4th quarter and trying to make sure I've got everything in and waiting to do what's next.
Okay, Sylvia?
Well, I've basically finished up the 3rd quarter and double checking to make sure I've got everything I need in. And I'll get started on the 4th quarter next.
Okay. Okay, and Sylvia would have been with us. She had a doctor's appointment, so that's why she couldn't be there she sent me a message saying that. Ms. Marna?
What I worked on was trying to make sure that the supports are in since we've been out and under COVID-19.
Yeah.
I got that in.
Yeah.
Caught up with
Okay, Ms. Myrna, you coming in and out. Can hardly hear you.
Okay, what I worked on is making sure that I put in the support that I've been doing since March 13th.
Yeah.
I've got my 4th quarter information in, and pretty much doing that and doing follow-up with the study item program.
Okay. Okay, Kathy?
I'm working on my 4th quarter data, and I plan to have it finished at least by tomorrow, if not by Friday, so that I can start on the EOY. And also wanted to mention to everybody in regards to the video, I sent everybody an email. Miss Ditsy had sent me a text message this morning requesting that everybody send their video to Miss Beth Hunt. And I got the phone number, which I sent to you guys, 910-736-9390. And I know Kayla's already responded to me and said that her file's too big to send via text. So I've got a call in for Miss Ditsy to give me a call. And what I may do is just call Beth direct and get her email address so that y'all can those that your files are larger, so y'all can email those to her. And the reason for that, Ms. Dancy said that when we're sending the videos, you know, over and over and over, it breaks down the resolution on those videos and it's real fuzzy. So that's the reason for having everybody send their video directly to Miss Beth Hunt.
Kathy, why don't we go ahead and make a decision and just say that don't do it. Go ahead and call Beth and get that information.
Yeah.
In fact, why don't you try to call her now and and just tell her that while we've got everybody online, and we can go ahead and take care of that. She's
I can do that. And also, I wanted to let you guys know that Miss Dancy had talked about doing a survey, send it out to the students at the high school level. I have done that. I emailed it to all of my students. I haven't heard anything back yet. So that is something that I'll also be doing tomorrow, is following up with my students to see where they are on doing that survey, because they may have done it and I just don't know. They haven't sent me, you know, an update. Also, the students have got their McDonald's gift card and they were so tickled. So a lot of them have sent me a text message thanking me for those cards. So that was a good thing. And I finished Monday my CIS university module. So I'm good to go, everything except for, you know, continuing to follow up with the students weekly and also finishing up the data input.
Okay, well, good. So go ahead and call Beth. Beth is a wonderful person to work with. So find out, you know, while we've got everybody's attention, we can go ahead and get that information out. As everybody, as far as your tier 1, tier 2s, everybody, there's no problems with that. Everybody, as you're closing out, you've got everything that you need to close out with for the year. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see a problem with anything. Does anybody see that they're going to have a problem with anything, not having the numbers that they need based on what we said that you would need to do for when state nationals looks at it? Everybody?
I wasn't able to get a list of the suspensions for that third 9 weeks because there was something wrong with her printer and the librarian was out those 3 days that we worked. So I still have an incomplete when it comes to suspensions.
Can you call Nan and see if you can get that from her?
I will. I'll call Nan.
Call Nan. If you call Nan, Nan will work with you.
All righty.
Just call Nan.
Okay.
And if push comes to shove, Sylvia, if you can't get it with Nan, we'll try to get Mr. Bobby or somebody that might could get that information. Mr. Bobby Locklear.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times he'll know how, but Nan will be our first avenue with that.
Okay, I'll get back with you with what she says.
Okay.
Dr. Stedman?
Yeah.
So for the third quarter, everybody has their behavior data?
Okay.
Does everybody have their behavior data for the third quarter?
Sylvia's got to get hers.
Yeah.
I have to get mine.
You've got to get hers. Did Jermaine, all of you, did you get yours for the third quarter?
Yeah, I had got mine.
Yeah.
Okay, Kayla has to get hers too.
Okay. So whoever it is that you need to make contact with, you need to go ahead and because
our data manager told us that she could only give us the grades and attendance. She said there was no behavior for the third quarter.
That's not true.
No, I got behavior from Purnell for third quarter.
Yeah, because we only, and I'm gonna forward you the email where she told me that, because we only got attendance in our course and our grades.
Okay.
We didn't get any behavior data printed out because I was under the impression that they weren't, that was being excluded from the third quarter.
Not the third quarter.
Okay, let me explain something, Mr. Stedman. I have my behavior for my case managed students, but there's a portion on there where you have to list the behavior and suspensions for your school. That's what I'm missing, is what took place third quarter for the school.
Did you get yours?
I'm not
Kathy,
missing.
for school? Kathy, did you get yours?
I got mine for the school wide.
For third quarter?
That's what I've got to have,
quarter,
is
yeah.
school wide.
Did you get yours for third quarter for school wide?
Yes, school wide, yes.
Okay.
Jermaine, did you get yours?
I got behavior score.
Judy, did you get yours for third quarter?
Talk to him.
You know, I think I got mine. I got an email, but I'm gonna double check now that y'all are talking about all this. I'm
So
98% sure I got it though.
Shirley, I would say reach out again, and if you can't, we'll just have to go through Miss Dincy like we've had to do before to get whatever we need to get, because it is out there.
It's on, yeah. We have to list it on the school.
Yeah, the information is out there, yeah.
There.
Because they will send that back as an exception.
He's talking about that sheet right there, right?
Because I know the third quarters were, if we got all the other third quarter information, then that would be there too.
Yes.
And we should be able to
I got
complete
everything
all
I'm
third
supposed to
quarter.
Yeah.
See right
Hey,
here.
Dr. Stedman.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on my school-wide attendance. I talked to Miss Nancy when not the Zoom before, but the Zoom before, and she said she was going to talk to Mr. Locklear about getting that for the school-wide attendance in my school.
Okay. What you need to do, you need to make a list of the things that you are missing, that Dincy would need to be able to reach out if that's what it is that she would need to do. You need to get that to her immediately, and make sure when you send her an email with what you need that you copy me on those emails as well, so I'll know what it is that you're reaching out for.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a problem though, because I mean, and those people are having to work and get this information, even if it's at home, they're having to do it.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Because see, she could pull up the report, but she could not get the report printed for me. And there was nobody there to work on the computer and the printer for her. So
yeah, well,
that's why I ended up leaving without it.
Yeah, she's probably got it by now though.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have a problem with Nan.
Well, this was the in-school suspension person.
Okay.
That's who I went to get my report.
But Nan should be able to pull up that same information.
Okay.
In the NCY.
Now, excuse me, my in-school suspension person emailed my stuff, so that's why I got it. She didn't. It's on an email.
Well, and guys, reach out to those people. They all are having to work up through the 22nd for closeout. So
okay,
they're there. They're having to do their work.
All right.
That's right, Dr. Stedman, because they're having to keep a log just like we are of everything that they are working on. They have to submit that weekly.
Yeah, my sister works at Lumberton High School in the guidance office. She's a guidance tech, and they're having to she's having to go back in. She's having to go work Thursday, I think, and she's going to have to suit up outside to collect senior fees.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Stedman?
Uh-huh.
I forwarded you the email where our data manager said that there is no third quarter behavior data available. So you said you want me to email her? Or
no, when was that? When did she send you that email?
She sent it, she sent it April 23rd.
Okay, I would try again because that's been a long time, and I would just ask again. And if she says the same thing, don't respond back. just let me know, and we'll ask Miss Nancy to reach out, because that information is supposed to be there, or either somebody didn't do their job.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we won't argue the point with them. Just ask again, and if she says the same thing, just say thank you, and then we'll move on from there.
Okay.
Chances are it may not be there, but it's because somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do. That's it. So,
Not be there because nobody.
yeah. While we're waiting on Akilah to join, let's talk about, after Akilah meets with us today, then that's going to give you, a lot of you have already started, but this is, I'm telling you that once she tells you today, goes over things again, I'm telling you to go on and do everything that you can do and you know to do at this point. I've scheduled it next Wednesday. We've cleared it out. Miss Myrna's there right now. She said it's a big room. That big room, she said that there's a table for everybody, so we don't have to sit on top of each other. I want us, if we can, to meet there next week, and we'll do social distancing and be safe, but that way we can ask questions and we can help each other to try to go ahead and close out, with whatever we need to close out with. Let's try next week, because you've got to have phase 1, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 4 completed.
Phase 1, phase 2, and phase
31st.
By the 31st, but we don't want to wait till the 31st in case there's problems.
Right.
So what I'm asking you to do, use your time, because you can use that. You can use your time that you're working to do that. Go ahead and get what you can get done. Try to get it all done by next Wednesday, so that when we come in, that we can clean up stuff. We'll get Akilah back on the line then with any questions. But I'd love for us to if we can, bring closure to things next Wednesday. Wouldn't you guys like to do that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Now, you said we'd meet somewhere, Dr. Stedman. Is that the academy or the CIS office?
No, at the academy. Yes, CIS Academy. And we're going to meet Miss Myrna's. Miss Myrna's got the library over there, and then we've got that big room. She said that there are tables in there so that everybody can have their own big table, and we won't have to sit on top of each other.
Okay.
So we'll do that. And let's not wait till 10 o'clock. Let's go ahead. What about 9 o'clock that morning?
That's
Next
fine.
Wednesday. Let's do it at 9 o'clock next Wednesday morning.
Right down this aisle if we need, or more.
At the CIS Academy in Pembroke,
CIS
correct?
Academy, yeah.
That's all we need.
Next Wednesday's May 20th.
Yeah, May 20th, next Wednesday.
What time?
9 o'clock.
9 a.m.
Dr. Stedman, do we know when our last day will be so that we'll be off for the summer? I'm ready,
He's
y'all.
working.
Yeah.
He's
We got to
working on
make
it.
sure that I know it won't be until after May 31st, because it won't be until closeout is complete.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so I would think that, and Dancy will confirm that next week, but I would think that if we've got everything clear, that after the 31st, that would be it.
Yeah.
As long as we've got everything cleared, and you must be available if they call us back and say that there's something wrong with your report or something, you would have to fix that.
Oh, okay. I was just curious because my husband, he wants to go ahead and put in his vacation request, and I didn't have any idea what to tell him.
Yeah.
So that works. Okay.
I would think that that it would be around that time anyway.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And like I said, if we've got to have all the reports in by May 31st, then, once you've done your reports, then I mean, you've done all that you're supposed to do at that point.
Right.
So, but we just want, so that's why I don't want to wait till the last minute. That's why I want us to get together next week and make sure that we've dotted every I and crossed every T. I don't want a lot to come back on us, if anything. So,
Okay, thank you.
what kind of questions would any of you have at this time while we're waiting on Akilah to join us?
I have a question.
Sure.
So when we're gonna meet next week, should we already have our final goal achievement complete, and then we're just gonna check through it? Because I've already started doing that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's what I would like for you to have everything as complete or as close to complete as possible. If you have questions about something, then we can fix it when you come in next week. But unless you have questions, my goal is for you to have it complete so that we can start checking off and checking each other off next week.
Okay. Cool.
And that way,
I
Shirley, that'll give you your focus completely on what you've got to plan to do with your 2 weeks of camp. At that point, you won't have to worry about this other stuff.
What camp? I thought I was getting off the 31st. I thought I was having summer like Miss Kathy. I thought me and Miss Kathy was going to the beach.
We're ready, girl.
Well,
We're ready.
You see got the stomach face. He's like, girl, you thought wrong.
how many other people have you invited to your place? You gave me a room already for the summer.
Oh, we're gonna have a CAS party at the beach house.
We deserve to have a big party.
Right. See, y'all know me and Miss Kathy together. That's a bad mixture right there. We gonna party. I'm just playing.
Hey, Miss Shirley, you guys still want me to meet with y'all after this meeting?
Yes, if you can, because I do have some questions about.
Okay, sure.
We voted by using the little thumbs up. So on the reaction bar, so that's where my little thumbs up things.
Okay.
I thought that was quite cute. Thumbs up for what you just said.
With the chat.
Yeah, but over to the far right, it has the word reaction, and you can give a thumbs up.
Oh, you taught me something.
Oh, I learned it last night.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't it neat?
Oh, yeah.
Marlo, we got some thumbs up for you.
I ain't seen the church.
That's cute. Y'all go over there, you too.
They're stress
I
balls.
like that.
Or what?
I don't have it.
You have to bring one now, Shirley, for us. You know we've been stressed next
I
week.
got my hand up there clapping. I see that. Yeah.
Oh, isn't that neat?
I like that.
Click for that chat. What you click for that?
Lord have mercy.
Chat, reaction.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Tell me again.
Okay, go to reaction.
I'm gonna do the thumbs up.
Oh, reactions. Oh.
And then if you click on that, and it'll put whatever emoji you want. You got it, Judy?
Cool. Yeah, I got that. Thanks. Learn something new every day, huh?
Yeah, how about it?
And then it fades away after a few minutes. Yeah, it goes.
Okay.
So you can do more thumbs up if you want to. You know, that's a good way of, like you said, Miss Myrna, voting. You know, if you want to vote.
We voted last night.
Okay.
What is OEM?
They only have.
I know on some webinars, when they have that hand up, they're raising their hand that they want to, you know, ask a question or say something.
Well, I never. I've seen it before, but I didn't know where it came from. Taught me something. Akilah's with us.
Good morning.
Hey, Akilah.
Good morning.
Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Akilah.
Hey, good morning.
Yes.
Akilah, I'm going to make you the host right now so you can share your screen.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, I've just done that, so that'll give you screen privileges. We're ready for you now.
Perfect. How's everybody doing today?
We're doing
Good.
well.
How are
Great. How are you?
All
I'm
right.
doing well. So the purpose of me joining your meeting today is just to kind of go over phasing information. And so, because we are in the midst of that now. And so I guess where I want to start is, does anybody have any just general questions or anything that they've started to kind of dig into that they have, or do you want me to just kind of dive right in?
Well, Akilah, Miss Myrna, Miss Kathy, Zaquan, Miss Maisie, and Judy, they were with us on Monday, but the others could not be there.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
we've already talked about it. We need to hear things more than one time anyway. So let's just assume that nobody was at the meeting on Monday. Can you do that?
Okay.
Assume and take us through what we're meeting again next Wednesday. And I've told them with phase 1, phase 2, and phase 4, I want it as near complete as possible.
Okay.
So whatever you can do to get us to that point, and then if we're going to meet at 9 o'clock next week, would you be available again at 10 o'clock if we need you just to bring closure to things next week?
Yes, I should be available.
Okay. I'll get in touch with you closer to that time then. Okay.
Okay.
But anyway,
I
whatever
heard
you
some.
feel like you need to do at this point.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm in high school, and so but some of our students, like, they had like, for instance, for math, they had math the first semester of school, the first and second quarter, but then they didn't have math the last the second semester of school, the third and fourth quarter. So when I do my final goal achievement, I would just base it off of that second quarter grade, right? There's nothing I need to put in for the third and fourth quarter, since they didn't have that class.
Correct.
So I just leave those blank.
Correct. So your case would be the only case where we would ask you not to put anything for third and fourth quarter. Usually we don't want to leave them blank, but for high schools, because that is only taken in the first and second quarter, so the assumption is that the grade, the goal achievement is only applicable to the first and second quarter, then you can go ahead and close out that goal.
Okay.
And that metric.
And that's for high school only, what you just said, right?
Yes. That's for high school only if you have a class that you're only updating semesterly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
For all others, you would still do third and fourth quarter progress monitoring. And I've already kind of went through what that looks like. So that's putting third quarter data if you have it, and then repeating third quarter data for fourth quarter, and then selecting progress not shown due to school closure.
That's for the fourth quarter. We said progress not shown due to school closing.
All right, say that again. I didn't hear the whole question.
Hello? When you said repeat third quarter data for fourth quarter, and then for the response, we say progress not shown due to school closing, or that'd be for the final goal achievement.
Okay. Sylvia, if you could mute yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to mute everybody right now. Can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Yes. For third, for fourth, you just repeat everything for third, and then do you want the progress to be, progress not shown due to school closing for the fourth quarter, or for final goal achievement also?
It depends. So for fourth quarter, because no one in your county is getting grades for fourth quarter, then for fourth quarter, you would put in progress not due to goal achievement. I'm sorry, due to school closure for fourth quarter. For goal achievement, it depends on what goal you're tracking. So if you are tracking a goal that's only being given at the end of the year, so say for example, one of your goals for a student was EOG scores, then for that particular score, since that score is not going to come out, since we're not going to do testing, then your final goal achievement will be progress not shown due to school closure, because you're not going to have access to that that data point. If you're tracking something like grades and you got grades for the first, second, and third quarter, then your final goal achievement should be determined based on the first, second, and third quarter. So at the end of those 3 quarters, if they were making progress, but they didn't meet their goal, then their goal achievement will be goal not met with progress.
Okay, I got you.
I muted at everyone, but does anyone have any questions before I move forward about that, about progress monitoring and what that looks like?
No. Akilah, let me just tell them, when you need to ask a question, just unmute yourself, ask the question, and then mute yourself when you go back, because it keeps all of the background information or sounds away from us so we can hear everything.
Okay, Ms. Akilah, you said for the fourth quarter, if we put progress not shown due to school closure, but what if we, for the fourth quarter, put in the same grades as we did for the third quarter?
Because it's not going to let you go forward without a value.
Excuse me?
It's not going to let you enter that progress not shown due to school closure without putting in a value.
Okay, I put in a value, so then I won't ever show progress not shown due to school closure then, if I'm looking at grades.
I don't understand your question.
For my final goal achievement, if I used, for my fourth quarter, I put in third quarter grades.
Correct.
So for my final goal achievement for academics, I will, you're saying never put in progress not shown due to school closure? I will put in.
I didn't. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I will put in progressing, or I will put in progress, progressing, positive.
Yes.
No progress, but positive. It will be one of those choices.
Well, those aren't the choices for final goal achievement. Final goal achievement is either goal met, goal not met with progress, or goal not met, no progress.
Okay, thank you.
And so, but I want to stay away from, I'm not saying you're never going to put that for goal achievement, but for final goal achievement, progress not shown due to school closure is only applicable for grades or for a metric that you're tracking that only has one instance. Does that make sense? So like you guys have been, things like behavior, attendance, and academics, you guys have been progressing this whole year, and it's just the fourth quarter that you do not have. So nationals is saying that you should still be able to make an assumption on whether or not they met their goal based on 3 quarters worth of data.
Yes,
they
ma'am.
implemented that final goal achievement or goal not met due to school closure for final goal achievement because there are certain metrics that are only given once a year that we're no longer going to have, like EOC scores, EOG scores. In the high schools, some people have metrics around taking the SATs, ACTs, and with all of those being canceled, they had nothing to enter for those values. So they put in that option for final goal achievement. But if you have at least 3 quarters worth of data for a metric, then we want you to still choose between goal not met with progress, and goal not met, no progress.
I have one more question. It's
Sure.
relative to, for my case managed students, all my case managed students, I initially gave the pre-seed assessment. Okay, now I did not get an opportunity to do the post assessment that we usually do. So how am I going to do that?
So you would be under that same guidance with progress not shown due to school closure. And so what you would, because usually you would do your pre-assessment and then your post-assessment would go under final goal achievement, correct? For the value?
Yes.
Right. So for all of those who have seed assessments that are not able to do the post, then you would repeat the baseline score or the score that they got in their pre-assessment. And then you would say progress not shown due to school closure.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious. I didn't know how to do it. I know how to initially go in and choose the date or whatever, and it's pre-assessment. So I would go through those very same steps to do the post, but this would be, I would have a choice then to choose progress not shown due to school closure?
Well, I'm talking about when you're doing the final goal achievement. So if you're going into the assessment to do the seed assessment, that's not where I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you are entering for progress monitoring, when you click on final goal achievement, because I'm assuming you would put results of the post test as your final metric value for the seed. And so that's where you would select, you would repeat what they achieved for the pre-test, and then you would select final or progress not shown due to school closure. And then if there is an area where you could put a note, I would also recommend just putting a note that post-tests were not able to be implemented or given.
Okay, I got you.
Does that make sense? Hello?
I just need to ask one question. Going back to my
Sure.
group that does my girls circle, and it's based on suspension. If a child has had 3 semesters with no suspensions, then my end of grade goal would be that they achieved.
Well, was that their baseline goal to begin with? That they would not?
That was that they would not be suspended for the school year.
Okay. So again, if they had no suspensions all 3 quarters,
no suspensions,
and that is less than the goal that you set for them. So let's just say the goal you set for them was they wouldn't get suspended more than twice this year because they got suspended 4 times last year. If they did not get if they did not get suspended this whole year, first, second, and third quarter, then their final achievement would be goal met.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. All right.
But then for the value, you would still put what the third quarter grade was.
Okay.
We did not have a quarter.
All right. Thank you.
Will we do the same thing for attendance?
Yes. So if you were able to get attendance data for the third quarter, then yes, you could look at the 3 quarters and say, based on what I originally set for them for their baseline, did they meet their goal in 3 quarters?
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But again, the value that you would put in for that final goal achievement will be from the third quarter, because that is the last value data that we have.
Okay.
So will we put the same reporting date too for the third quarter?
No.
Okay.
For final goal achievement, you could still put the day that you set the final goal achievement is fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So that will pre-populate whatever day that you're doing their final goal achievement, it pre-populates for that day. So if you were doing that today, it would be today. If you do it 2 days from now, it would be whatever the date is 2 days from now. And that's okay.
Okay.
Akilah, remind them to make sure that they do not leave places empty, that they put something of value in every response place.
Correct. And so again, especially for progress monitoring, even though we are not getting fourth quarter grades, you would still need to go in and fill out the progress monitoring for your students for the fourth quarter. And then again, I would suggest going back through the other quarters and pulling in information where it's applicable. So again, if you didn't enroll a student in the first semester, if your student's class ended if you didn't have a student in the first quarter, we're not expecting you to go in and put in information. If you had a student who only had a class for the first semester, we're not asking you to go in and put information for third and fourth quarter. But if you had a student that was enrolled since the beginning of the year, then the expectation is all 4 quarters are completed for them. Also, as it pertains to progress monitoring, I'll repeat that if you had a student that exited and they were picked up by another support specialist in your county and they're on their caseload, you do not have to do the final goal achievement for that student because the other support specialist will be doing their final goal achievement.
I have a question. I just want or a comment. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly. For our fourth quarter data, we can enter what we have for third quarter. And we will also need for fourth quarter, we will also need to do the progress monitoring and also the achievement goal for the fourth quarter. So in essence, our third and fourth quarters are going to be the same, identical.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Akilah, would Shirley and Kayla need to know anything differently with her being the graduation coach and with the data that is there anything that they need to know differently, or has state or nationals said that any of that needs to be recorded differently?
Not that I'm aware of, because if I remember correctly, they both have different students on their caseload, correct?
Right, but Shirley is putting all the students into, Shirley's doing all the data reporting on them. Kayla gives her the information. Am I correct?
Right, but I just want.
Is that correct?
No, Kayla has her own system login.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Oh no, yeah, I was just telling you. But when you pull up our Red Springs system report, it puts both of our data together, but it has Kayla's name beside it.
Okay, got you. But it goes together. That's what I thought. Okay.
But y'all are both serving different students, right? Just all of those students are listed under Kayla.
No, so we're serving different students, but like Kayla has her own login and everything. So it's kind of like her students are her own, her own separate students, the same way it would show up for a student support specialist. But when you pull your system, the TQS report, it puts all of our students together and it has her name on her students and my name on my students.
Okay, got you.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So then there would be no difference. It would just be dependent upon what you're tracking for your students. So I don't know what kind of goals you set for your students and whether or not they were able to actually get to do them, since I'm assuming if you're the graduation coach, I'm assuming a lot of their I don't know if a lot of their goals were based on like applying for colleges or applying, going to college visits or, doing that type of thing. I'm not too sure what types of goals you had for your students, but it would be there's really nothing different. It would be based upon what goals you're tracking.
And
right. Yeah.
Kayla has been doing virtual college tours, and then I know that she was working with a student just this week, helping them with college applications and things. So Kayla, I think you're fine. You've been doing whatever you need to do to meet those goals in creative ways if you had to. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so no, there's nothing that you would need to do any differently.
Okay.
But if you have questions about how to, you know, record their goals or exiting them or anything like that, just let me know. But you would be on the same lines as everybody else.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. Let me ask, while we've got Akilah on phase 1, phase 2, and phase 4, are there any specific questions that you need to ask her at this point about closing out any of or completing any of those reports?
Ms. Akilah,
Yes.
I know that we had to do the affiliate and the school level report each quarter. We do not have to do those 3 reports the fourth quarter, do we?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So when you pull your TQS report for school level data, in the amount of times reported, you should have 3.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So a couple of things that I just want to hit on is one, if you haven't already, please make sure that you go into the My Profile area and update all of that information in System, especially if anything has changed over the years, if you got a new number or anything like that, but just making sure that all of that information is completed. Also, in order for that information to be pulled up in the school EOI report, in the reports that I'm pulling, you would need to make sure that you have indicated that you are the case manager or the site coordinator at your school. And so what this means is, I'm going to share my screen, is when you navigate to your site coordinator dashboard, you're going to click on your school needs assessment and support planning icon. So when you go to your school, we're going to go into the needs assessment. And under edit support team members, you need to make sure that under designated site coordinator that your name appears. If your name is absent, then all of the information that you completed in your My Profile section will not pull through on the report that we need it to pull through on. So that's step 2, is just making sure that in your school needs assessment, under the school support team area, that your name shows, and then subsequently that your principal's name is accurate, their email, and how many years they've been at the school.
Akilah.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Would this apply to Kayla as well, seeing that she didn't have to, you know, do the needs assessment and all that stuff?
So did you guys only do one needs assessment for the school?
Yeah, the one that I have.
Right. So then your name will just need to be
Okay.
there. You're the designated site staff, and then she's site staff 2.
Okay, so should her name be up there as site staff 2, or?
Yes, and I actually think it is.
Okay.
Her information, I think, has pulled through in that particular section.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So that will be helpful for phase one, as far as making sure that that information pulls through on the EOI report, because that's the only way that your My Profile information is going to show up in the correct area for the reports that we're going to pull for phase one. The other area that I will go through is the school EOI report. Have any of you guys started to complete your school EOI reports? Everyone's muted.
Not yet.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let's see if I can navigate to you guys. So the school EOI report is a part of the first phase. And so when you navigate to this on your site coordinator dashboard, you should see last year's report already there. If you need to reference it for any reason, it's there for you to reference. But in order to create the one for this school year, you would need to select the button at the top. So we're gonna start the new EOI report. Basically what this information is collecting is what you did at the school during the year on kind of a higher level, what programs were brought in or what programs already exist, and what evidence-based interventions you did. A couple of things to point out. When we get to parent and student information in this first page of the workflow, just a reminder that when it asks you how many students at the school participated in whole school supports, that number cannot be higher than your enrollment number. So typically, most of you guys have done at least one tier 1 support that has reached the entire school. So the quickest and easiest way to calculate this number is you're gonna take your total enrollment, your total school enrollment, and subtract that by the amount of case managed students that you have on your caseload. And that number is usually the correct number for the answer to this question. Because if you put a number in that's higher than your total enrollment of the school, nationals will flag it. Because I essentially, you can't serve more students than are enrolled at your school. And then subsequently, even though this is not a starred area for parent information, I'm sorry, I don't think you see what I'm seeing.
It's Akilah. If on my school plan, it says that I'm to serve 30 students, but I'm actually serving 31, would I use 31 as my number to subtract from my 120?
When you say on your school plan, so you
I'm serving
hypothesize how many students. So that doesn't necessarily matter. All that matters is how many students are enrolled and that you have given at least one support to. That's the number that you want to subtract. Does that make sense? Like, I know that you put on your plan, hypothetically, that you were going to serve, you predicted that you were going to serve 30 students for the year. That's just kind of hypothesizing. what we want to look at is if you have 31 students enrolled in the system, and that's the amount of students that you
Yeah, I would subtract from the total number.
serve, then that's the number you should pick.
Thank you.
If it wasn't, what we're trying to get at is you cannot put a number in here that's higher than the amount of students enrolled. So whether you subtract 30 or 31, that number is going to be less than the amount of students enrolled, and so you'll still be fine even that way.
Okay.
Akilah, so
Yes.
as of March 13th, they should go with whatever the school attendance was as of March 13th. Is that correct?
Correct. If you,
Okay,
for enrollment purposes.
So let's just say, Jermaine, that he had 650 students at Lumberton Junior High School on March 13th. And his caseload would be, let's say, 40 students. So if there's 650 students there, he would subtract the 40 students from the 650, and what he would show would be 610 students. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, for his tier 1 activities, and all the tier 1 activities would be the same at that point. Am I correct?
What do you mean they'll all be the same?
Yeah, well, the same number, the number served for the school.
It depends, because like I said, I'm just speaking about this particular question under the assumption that you have done at least one of your tier 1 supports that were for the whole school. Now there are some.
And they've got several. They've done several.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is that ideally what this question is asking you is how many students participated in whole school supports, not including your case managed students.
Okay.
For some schools, that number is maybe only 300, because even though they did 4 tier 1 supports, none of them were for every student in the school, but maybe they decided to target specific grades. So maybe they were doing tier 1 supports that were only for 3rd graders or 4th graders. And out of the whole year, they served only about 400 students.
Okay, I got it now. Like with Sylvia, that would be like the hand washing and things like that you do only with specific grades. Okay, I got it.
Right. But for this particular, just to be clear and streamlined, at the end of the day, what I want you to know about this particular question is this number cannot be higher than the amount of students enrolled at your school.
Okay, got it.
Also should not include your case managed students.
Okay.
So if you go to your tier 1 support and you add up all the students that you served in the year, and remember, those numbers are duplicated. So you just have to be careful, because that's what people have done in the past, is they've pulled their tier 1 supports, they added together all of the students that the report said that they served, and that's the number that they put to answer for this question. And we just have to remember that that number cannot be higher than the amount of students at your school. And then the other thing I was gonna say is that for the, even though the parent information is not starred red, you still need to fill it out around how many parents you serve, generally any parents in the school, and then it's gonna ask you of that total, how many were targeted, which is like your case managed students. So the parents of your case managed students. And that number should be smaller than this first number. Any questions? Okay. So I'm gonna jump out of that for just a second. So then in the workflow, after after you populate as no. And so you need to go in and verify if that is correct, or if you did supply that type of support, and you would change it to a yes. And then once you finished, you would say if the information is correct or not. And that's the last part that needs to be completed, or else it's not going to let you move through. The same thing applies with partner information. Give me 1 second.
Akilah, you keep going in and out.
Yes, I'm sorry. My internet has been acting strangely
Okay.
the last hour or so. So just let me know if you need me to repeat anything.
Okay.
Okay, so for some reason, certain things are missing on my screen, but again, you would go through, there's going to be a whole list of partners that they're gonna ask you whether or not you've worked with, if they exist in the school, or if you brought them into the school, and you will select otherwise. It's gonna automatically populate with an answer. And if there is a particular organization on that list that does exist at your school, you would change it to reflect that they are currently at your school. And then the same thing with evidence-based programs. As you go through the workflow, it's all official list. It gives you an opportunity to add. First, it's going to show you what programs you previously entered. And so if those are the same programs that you used for this year, then you would just select those. If there was a new program, so let's say, for example, last year, you used zones of regulation, and then this year you used another type of social emotional tool, then you would type that in, and you would indicate how it was brought into your school. So say, for example, this year your school did ACEs. Well, was that something, did the school implement ACEs? Did you bring in ACEs into the school? So on and so forth. And then once you've completed those 3 areas, then your school EOI will be completed. The easy way to determine whether or not it's completed is your school, when you are when you've navigated to your school, will abide by these colors. And so if your school is highlighted green, then that means that you completed your EOI report and everything was done. If there was a color other than green, or it's white, like as you see these schools, then that means that the either the report was not completed at all if it's white, or certain aspects are not done correctly. And you could refer to the legend to know which section has not been completed. Were there any questions on that? And was everyone able to hear me all the way through?
Ms. Akilah, I'm looking at your screen, and Ms. Macy wants me to ask, why does Magnolia Elementary have a yes under school closure for 19 and 20?
So in all transparency, that's a really good question, and Nationals have not gotten back to me around what that means, because I haven't been able to find where you actually make that like where you actually enter that information. And so I am waiting for them to get back to me on what that exactly means.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, it's not anything. But I will let Danny know once I get an answer to distribute to you all.
Thank you, because I have no idea.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions before I move on to the last couple of points I want to hit on?
No, ma'am.
Someone said they had a question.
No, I think they said that they're okay, they're good, is what I think.
Oh. Okay. So then the last thing is just remember that you all have access to pulling reports to verify your information for the end of the year. And so again, if you want to know what's missing as far as progress monitoring and goal achievement, you will pull the goal achievement report for your school, and you're able to see what students have blanks and what students still need information completed. Along with the TQS report is looking at, especially for case management, making sure that all students that you want to be considered your case managed students have a support plan and at least one support entered. And then the other really important one, is the EOY report. That is the report that I will be pulling to verify end of year information. And so it would be great if you guys could also pull it and make sure that there is nothing missing. And so right now, particularly for phase 1 data, you want to be focused on pulling your school data report. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it just so I can point some areas out to you. And just give it a second, because this report, just in full transparency, is a larger report. So it is going to take about 3 to 5 minutes to download. That's exaggerated. I'm sorry, about 2 to 3 minutes to download. So I would just give it a second. Okay. Okay, so now you guys should be able to see my screen. Okay. So when you pull this report, like I said, I always like to export it to Excel. It enables more nimbleness with the report. Oh, I'm in the wrong report. Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna use this report because it's still gonna do what I wanted to. Okay, so when you get this report, this is what it's gonna look like when you export this to Excel. Like I said, these particular areas is where I highlighted that you would need to go to the site, the school needs assessment and indicate that you are the site coordinator. So this is the part of the report that reflects it. So as long as that's that shows up in the report, then your name will populate in these areas. The place that I want you guys to look at is all the way over. Okay. So this is the area that I was explaining about the site staff. And so for Kayla, for y'all's school, you should be able to see under site staff 1 should be whoever is the secondary site coordinator at that school. Your name should be highlighted in this particular section. And then the other person's name should be highlighted starting in this section here. Does that make sense? So if you're at a school that you're the only site coordinator, you should not have anybody's name unless there was an intern or anything like that. You should not have anybody's name in this particular section. And then as you're completing your school EOI reports, all of that information should populate in these areas here. And so again, if you pull this report and none of these areas are filled out, then there is some disconnect between you filling out your school EOI report and pulling this report. But as long as that is filled out, these areas should be populating or have answers. So then if you navigate to that same area, there's a selection for you to complete the student or to pull the student EOI report. And so that should be once you've begun putting in final goal achievements in your progress monitoring, you should also pull that report. So the area that I wanted to point out to you guys for this report is if you have not already, going into your students and verifying that you have put in or indicated for free and reduced price lunch, English language learners, and special education. Being able to tell me yes or no. We want to get away from having a high number of unknowns. So we understand that some of that information isn't necessarily accessible, particularly the free and reduced price lunch. In Power School, it doesn't necessarily say explicitly whether or not they're receiving it, but if you are serving in a school that is already eligible for free and reduced price lunch, if it's 100% eligibility, then we can go ahead and make that assumption that they're eligible. We're not necessarily asking if they're receiving it, but are they eligible to receive it? Whether or not they choose it is their option. And so that is highlighted here. And so we want to reduce the amount of unknowns as much as possible. We should either be electing yes or no. And so that is done through the student needs assessment. And so that's where you would go in and update that. It's under attributes. For student attributes, you would go in and update. So we would need you to do that for free and reduced price lunch, for special education, and then again for English language learners.
And Akilah, the whole system gets free lunches, so that should be the same for everybody.
Correct. So then everyone will need to go in and put yes under student attributes for free and reduced price lunch.
Except for Miss Myrna. Miss Myrna,
Okay.
they have to pay for lunches at the academy. Some of them do, don't they? Yeah, Miss Myrna, you need to check on that because I think that yours is a little bit different at the academy.
Right. So the point we're just trying to make is we want to reduce the amount of unknowns. If there are some students that you really don't know, then that's fine, but we shouldn't have an entire caseload in the unknown section. There should be at least some sort of determination, particularly for special education and ELL. Those indications are visible in Power School. It comes up right when you pull up your student if they have an IEP or anything like that. I mean, one, you know, if they're involved in the English as a second language program, and then as far as special education, if they have an IEP, you can go ahead and put there is some sort of specialization for them. And so we want to put yes, no. And we want to get away from the unknowns because nationals will flag all of that. They did it last year.
Miss Myrna, Miss Myrna, we can't hear you. Were you trying to say something?
Well, no.
You're muted. You're muted, Miss Myrna.
Okay.
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 Can you hear?
No, you're muted again.
Is this the numbers that we're looking at right here with these particular categories or relative just to our case managed students?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Is this numbers in this area right now that we're in relative to just the case managed kids?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Now, these aren't any of your schools, but yes, these numbers, when you go into this report, reflect the kids on your caseload.
What's that?
Gift cards.
Oh.
Are we putting them in it? Okay.
I just didn't know they look like this. They look like playing cards.
Miss Myrna, I said that about lunch because I know that Dency has to pay. She has to pay for she has to pay for some of those lunches. So I don't know how that. Just make sure that we know what we're doing in that area for your school.
Okay.
So again, I recommend pulling the goal achievement to verify looking at what students are missing goal achievement, but you can also see it through this report. Starting in column CY, it lets you know how many students had a goal and then how many students were shown to either meet their goal, not met with progress, or not met without progress. The only issue with these totals is that it's not going to include any student that you selected for either closure or the other one, which is exited within the same grading period or exited before progress was shown. So again, that particular selection refers to students that were exited throughout the school year that didn't finish with you. And so again, you can look at the attendance and the metric numbers in these columns, but I would recommend that you pull the goal achievement report. It gives you a more detailed, and with these columns, you won't be able to see the specific student. So if a student is missing something, you wouldn't be able to drill down in this particular report. So that's why I always say pull the goal achievement report, because then you can actually see student by student who has what. The other thing to note in this report is if you are as K through 11 students, making sure that none of them are in the graduated column. We've had some of that issues before where we're choosing an EOI status of someone being graduated of not being a 12th grader. So just making sure that that's 0 if you truly do not have any seniors on your caseload. And then making sure that everybody has a EOI status. So before a student is exited, they should fall under one of these areas, whether they're promoted, retained, dropped out, transferred, so on and so forth.
Akilah, again, just reminding them there must be a value in every one of those spots, even if it's 0, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then for those of you that are in the high school, we ask to the best of your ability, if you are putting that someone has graduated, that you try to collect what their post-secondary plans are. So I don't know if you conduct any type of surveys with your seniors or anything like that, but it would be really helpful if we can capture what they're doing as their next steps. So whether that's they're going into the workforce, whether they are going on to get an associate's degree, so going on to a community college, a 4-year college, military, anything like that. If it is other, typing in what that other is would be really, really helpful. So again, for those who have seniors graduating on their caseload, if you're put in graduated, that you also include what that secondary plan is. Because that will just be really helpful, being able to pull data around where the students are going after the fact. And if you have to type it in, if there's an other, actually typing in what that other is. So again, I know the EOY reports are very large, but again, I suggest at least putting eyes on it, because this is the report that I will be pulling to verify information. And this is what Nationals is going to be pulling to verify information. So you luckily have direct access to see what they're going to see. And so that's just as, as a peace of mind, I would say once you've kind of worked through all of the steps, pulling this report just to put eyes on it, because whatever is here is what I'm going to look at and is what Nationals is going to look at. So you have direct access to see what we're going to see. Any questions about that? If there are, you're on mute, so just want to make sure. Last thing I'll say is that so phase 1 is due May 31st. If you would like for me to, I plan on pulling data after Memorial Day to do a final check. And so just be aware of that. If you haven't completed your EOI or done any of the updates for phase 1 before then that's when I'll be pulling to do a final check of data before the phase 1 due date.
Okay, Akilah, the goal is we're meeting next Wednesday, and the goal is to have all of this done as much as possible.
Okay, sounds good. So to just know that I'll be pulling a report after Memorial Day, so then if there's any outstanding things for any reason, then you would hear from me then. If not, then just know that means you guys are good to go.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Akilah. You're always just right on top of everything.
Great.
Yeah, we
And
appreciate
again, if nothing, if something comes up after the fact, then you know you guys have my full my email and everything like that. So just let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions for me? And you can unmute yourselves. Any questions? Well, I've just done it. Well, I guess. Just unmute yourself, and if you have any questions in closing, anything.
This isn't a question, but it's Kathy.
Okay.
Akilah answered my question already for what I had about the high school.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't have to come to the office anymore, if you have to, I now understand about the blanks and stuff. That's what my question really was about.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, let me know if you have any additional questions. I'll be glad to help.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. And again, do like you've been doing. Call on each other if you need to call on each other. If you have a question, between now and next week. You've done a great job doing that this year, and it's worked. So I'm thinking next week that we'll be in the short rows. Okay. Keila, thank you so much. Okay.
That'd be
You're
nice.
welcome, guys.
Thank you, Kiva. Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you. Have a
everybody.
great
Welcome.
day.
Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.